The foreign minister of Denmark said there is a fundamental disagreement over the future of Greenland following yesterday's meeting with Trump administration officials. He and the foreign minister of Greenland met with both Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Rubio. And after that meeting, the foreign officials maintained they are against the U.S. acquiring Greenland. But the president's stance on the matter hasn't changed.
Of course, we share to some extent his concerns. There is definitely a new security situation in the Arctic and the high north. The big difference is whether that must lead to a situation where U.S. acquire Greenland, and that is absolutely not necessary.
We need Greenland for national security, so we're going to see what happens. We're doing the Golden Dome, we're doing a lot of things, and we really need it. If we don't go in, Russia's going to go in, and China's going to go in. And there's not a thing that Denmark can do about it, but we can do everything about it.
And we have a team of reporters covering this for us this morning. CBS News foreign correspondent Ramy Inocencio is in London. But let's begin with CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand at the White House. Good morning, Natalie. Tell us more about how this meeting went and the subsequent meetings with lawmakers.
Good morning, Errol. Well, President Trump did not make an appearance in this meeting. It was led by the Vice President and Secretary of State. And those Danish and Greenlandic foreign ministers are also meeting with various lawmakers on Capitol Hill, including the Arctic Caucus. And they say, while there are these fundamental differences, it's important that the dialogue will continue. The Danish foreign minister says there was an agreement to establish what's being called a high-level working group to explore the concerns of President Trump regarding national security interests in the region and also respecting the red lines of Denmark, which you have heard have been clearly expressed. Now, the lawmakers speaking to reporters after their meeting acknowledged the need to protect security in the region and say the Danes and Greenlanders are even open to additional assets in Greenland, but say that that can be done without owning the island. Take a listen.
This entire discussion is based upon a false premise, and that is that somehow America has to control Greenland in order to develop national security assets to protect our security interests in the Arctic, which are real.
This is legislation that effectively acknowledges and underscores the role that we play as a NATO nation, working with our NATO allies, that we do not move against a NATO ally, and that no funds shall be expended to do so. So this is a message that I think is very clear and very strong, and quite honestly, one that I never thought I would have to author and introduce in the United States Congress.
Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski there was talking about legislation that she has co-introduced to block funding to take over a NATO member state. She says the message that lawmakers are trying to send is that there is bipartisan support around respecting the sovereignty of the people of Greenland and also respecting the NATO alliance. Errol.
All right, Natalie, thank you very much. CBS News foreign correspondent Ramy Inocencio joins us now from our London newsroom. Good morning, Ramy. Despite what we heard from Natalie there, that lawmakers have a more diplomatic tone, President Trump yesterday appeared to mock Denmark's ability to defend Greenland. Let's just share that with our viewers.
I can't rely on Denmark being able to fend themselves off. You know, they were talking about they put an extra dog, and they were serious about this. They put an extra dog sled there last month. They added a second dog sled. That's not going to do the trick.
What's been the reaction there to this?
Yeah, well, Errol, really, about this time last year, Denmark did mention increasing dog sled patrols as part of its efforts to boost its military presence in Greenland. So President Trump isn't exactly wrong, but Denmark's foreign minister yesterday sort of grinned, sort of grimaced about that, and said they're actually beefing up security with ships, drones, fighter jets. And last October, Denmark did approve the purchase of 16 more F-35 fighter jets from the United States, which would, in total, if they purchased all of them, would be more than 40 American fighter jets. You're seeing now Denmark also sending more troops to Greenland. This happened late last night. We saw movement there. This Royal Danish Air Force C-130 cargo plane landed in the capital Nuuk. Those personnel wearing military fatigues were disembarking there. One Greenlandic family also watched that press conference in D.C. Liv Jensen, a mom and wife, said, quote, "It's really frightening about what the Trump administration could do." Take a listen.
The American used to be the good guys, you know, they help us. But now they all of a sudden are our enemy. We are afraid of that he can take us like that. And our culture will disappear, our language will disappear, and the whole way of living in Greenland will disappear.
And many European countries are now making moves to support Greenland. There's been this hastily called Operation Arctic Endurance military exercise. But these contributions are small, admittedly, maybe symbolic. For example, Germany sending 13 troops to do a short mission. Sweden and Norway say they will send a few troops, 2 or 3. The UK sending 1 military officer. France sending, or maybe they're already there, 15 troops. They'll also say they'll open a consulate in Greenland in about 3 weeks or so. So again, small numbers, it feels symbolic for this solidarity, and it won't be a military deterrent, of course, if the U.S. did want to go ahead and use military force, Errol.
All right, Ramy Inocencio in London for us. Ramy, thank you.